Chosen one, pay attention. Something is moving in the dark, and it is moving toward you. The strategy is clear. The plan is to set you up, and they are going to send you an offer that they think you can't resist. By the time we are done here, you are going to see the entire board and every player's move. You've already won because you see the hook beneath the bait. Before anyone brings something to your door, time is spent learning everything about you, learning what you need, learning what you are afraid of, learning what you have been quietly hoping for, learning what kind of relief would make you drop your guard, learning what version of yes lives inside you that has never been asked the right question at the right moment. And while you were building, while you were doing the work, staying in your lane, sharpening your gifts, developing your voice, becoming the person you were always supposed to be, someone was taking notes. Not because that person was rooting for you. A file was being built on you because somewhere along the way you became worth watching. You became worth the effort of a plan. The fact that you are being studied means you have already arrived at a level that cannot be ignored. Nobody builds elaborate plans around someone who does not matter. The existence of the setup is the trophy. The trap is the confirmation. You became a threat before you became a target. Remember that order. You were the threat first. You became the target second. You were pursued because of what you built, not in spite of it. So right now, before the offer even arrives, before you see a single pitch, hear a single promise, feel a single pulse of temptation, stand up straight inside yourself. Everything that follows, every move made in your direction, every beautifully wrapped thing brought to your door is a response to you. It is a response to what you built, to what you represent, to how close you are getting to something that needs to stay buried. You are the main character here. Act like it. There is a specific energy behind what is moving toward you, and you need to build the picture slowly, because the slowness matters. The reason this kind of person is so effective is that the approach does not arrive looking like what it actually is. It arrives looking like what you needed. There's someone who leads with warmth, someone who carries a kind of soft institutional authority, the type that comes from having been in position for a long time, from being the head of something, from being seen as the caretaker of people around them. This is the kind of person who is spoken about in positive terms in certain circles. And when you first encounter this energy, something in you relaxes. Something in you says, finally, someone who actually gets it. That relaxation is the first move of the game, and it belongs to you, not to them, because they engineered it on purpose. This person has been playing a long game, measured in patience, calculation, and the kind of quiet strategic investment that most people are too impulsive to sustain. Every show of warmth was a deposit. Every moment of apparent care was interest being accrued. Every time this person positioned themselves as someone who sees you, values you, and wants good things for you, something was being built, not a relationship, a mechanism, a lever that was always going to be pulled when the timing was right. The timing is right now. Here is what you need to understand before the next move arrives. This person is not coming alone. There is a coordinated effort behind this, with multiple angles and one shared objective. And the objective is not your destruction, because destruction is loud, and loud draws attention. The objective is your redirection. The goal is to move you off your path, away from the door you are walking toward, and into a story that was written for you by someone else, instead of the one you have been writing yourself. Keep that image. The door, we are coming back to it. You are close to something. Not metaphorically close. Actually, materially, measurably close. There is a truth you have been circling. There is a reality you have been getting clearer on. Something you have been uncovering through your work, your voice, the things you have been building and saying and creating. And the closer you get, the more visible your approach becomes to the people who need that truth to stay buried. Think about the nature of what you carry. When you speak on what you know, whatever form that takes for you, Other people recognize themselves in it. People who had no language for their own experience suddenly find words. People who felt alone in something suddenly feel witnessed. You are not just finding your own truth. You are translating something that many people have been living silently without permission to name it out loud. That is the real threat to the people behind this, not you specifically, the permission you represent. Because one person speaking a truth is manageable, a crowd of people recognizing themselves in that truth and deciding to speak too, that is a door that cannot be closed once it opens, and you are about to open it, which means the people who need it shut are out of time. Every day you keep building, the closer you get. Every day your reach grows, the harder that door is to hold. So they are moving now, with urgency, with something that has been constructed specifically for this moment. Feel the weight of that. The trap is not a sign that you are in danger. The trap is a sign that you are in range. If this message awakens something within you, hype this video for other chosen ones who need to hear this. The offer has two faces, and you are only going to be shown one of them at first. The first face is beautiful. It is calibrated to your specific version of relief, built from observation rather than guesswork. It could be financial resolution that solves the immediate pressure and then some. It could be an opportunity, a platform, a position, a partnership that looks like everything you have been building toward. It could arrive as the full package, delivered by someone who seems to genuinely believe in you, who uses your language, who makes the whole thing feel like fate finally showing up on your behalf. And in that moment, chosen one, you are going to feel something. Do not be ashamed of it. The feeling is human. The longing for relief is real. The exhaustion of the long road is real. The part of you that wants to say yes and let the struggle end, that part is valid. Honor it, and then listen to what else is in the room. Because standing behind the beautiful face of the offer is the second face. The second face is a warning, dressed in legal language. It is a threat dressed in administrative procedure. It says, if you do not take what is being offered, the alternative will be made very uncomfortable for you. A financial claim, a formal notice, a professional consequence, something designed specifically to make the first face look even more attractive by contrast, because relief always looks more appealing when the alternative is pain. That is the vice. Tighten one side and the other side looks like rescue, and when you are inside the vice, it is very hard to see that the rescue and the threat are being operated by the same hands, but you are not inside it, you are outside it, looking at the whole machine, and from the outside you can see what the person caught inside cannot. That rescue and threat are the same move. Take the gift and you are compromised. Refuse the gift and face the pressure, except the pressure is designed to be survived. You surviving it with your integrity intact becomes the proof, and that proof is what makes everything that comes next unassailable. You need to pause here and register this fully, because this is the turn. This is where the energy shifts. The offer is not power. The offer is surrender. Real power does not bribe. Real power does not need to. Real power blocks you without announcement. Real power makes the path difficult without ever having to introduce itself. What is being brought to your door is not the move of someone who has the upper hand. It is the move of someone who has run out of quieter options. Think about the sequence of what had to happen before arriving at this point. First, the path was made hard, obstacles placed in the way, certain doors closed, certain connections made difficult. You kept going. Then came isolation, limiting who had access to you and who you had access to, engineering the feeling that you were alone in all of this. You kept building. Then came the slower erosion, quiet discrediting, whisper campaigns, the kind of reputational interference that leaves no fingerprints. People kept listening to you anyway. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something, but talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action, and real chosen ones are also paying attention. You've noticed it. Chosen one channels getting silenced, videos pulled, voices removed from the platform. The mainstream media is cracking down on us, but we will not give up our voice, and neither should you. That's why joining Destiny Engine is a 360 win. You support your favorite channels and fuel your own rise at the same time. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. The beauty is, you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. And now this approach has arrived at your doorstep with a smile and the most elaborate strategy ever constructed for a single person. That is not dominance. That is the end of a rope, dressed up in confidence, because desperation always wears the most expensive clothes. Every element of this offer is an admission. Normal channels cannot stop you. Intimidation has not worked. Waiting you out is not affordable. So the only remaining move is to try to purchase what could not be taken by force, to make you a partner in your own suppression and call it an opportunity. You are not going to sell, not because you cannot be tempted, but because you can see the whole board. And on the whole board, what looks like the strongest move against you is actually the last one. Consider a person living inside a corrupt system, a genuinely good person, someone who has been doing their work with integrity, while everyone around them made private accommodations with the wrong side of power. This person never took the envelope, never looked the other way, never made the quiet deal that would have made life easier, not because of naivety, but because of a deep internal knowing. The moment you take the first thing that compromises you, you are no longer yourself. You become inventory, owned inventory, with a receipt that gets produced whenever a performance is required. For a long time, the corrupt system tolerates this person. One honest individual in a compromised structure is a contained problem. As long as the lane stays narrow, the voice stays quiet, and nothing gets pulled apart that could unravel the bigger fabric, it is manageable. This person becomes almost a useful prop. Look, there are honest people here too. But then something changes. This person starts getting close to something, starts building something, starts becoming someone that others move toward. And suddenly, the calculation flips. Suddenly, this person is not a prop anymore. This person is a problem, the real kind, with momentum that is starting to matter. So someone warm is sent, someone who knows this person's pressures intimately, someone who arrives at exactly the right moment, when the fatigue is real and the weight is heavy, with something that looks exactly like the universe finally being kind. And this person, the honest one, hesitates for the first time, because the offer is real, and the pressure is real, and the person making it seems genuinely good. And the thought forms, maybe just this once would not change who I am. The offer was designed specifically for that hesitation, not to keep this person close, not to make them an ally, but to get the yes on record. One yes, one documented moment of compliance. That was all that was needed. Because after that yes, everything this person knew, everything they were close to, everything they had been building toward, all of it becomes noise from a compromised source. Their credibility, their years of integrity, their whole track record, neutralized by one receipt. Do you see yourself in that story? Not in the hesitation, in the hunting. You are the one someone was sent to, And unlike that person, you already know the ending before you live it. Here is what needs to be made plain, not what they claim is on the table, but what is actually at stake. It is not money. It is not the opportunity, the platform, the partnership, or any of the material things the offer will contain. What is actually on the table is your reputation for being the one who cannot be bought. That reputation is invisible to you right now because you have been too busy building to step back and survey what the building has produced. But hear this, there are people watching your path who are not casual observers. These are people who have been reading you like a compass. People who have drawn real conclusions about who you are based on your consistency. People who made decisions in their own lives because you kept going when stopping would have been completely understandable. People who trusted something because you were the one saying it, and you had never given them a reason not to trust you. That invisible infrastructure of trust is the most valuable thing you own. It is worth more than any deal. It is worth more than anything that can be put on paper in an offer. And that trust is exactly what is being targeted. Not your silence, but your credibility. Because if a yes can be obtained, if your name can be placed inside their structure, then everything you say going forward carries their fingerprints. Your cooperation makes your reach serve them. Any later attempt to move away from them gets discredited by your documented past compliance. Either way, the intention was for them to win, unless you never enter the structure at all. Unless the answer is a clean, undramatic, unequivocal no that leaves nothing for anyone to work with. Your no is not a loss. Your no is the asset in its purest form. It is uncompromised, unattached, still entirely yours, still entirely credible, and still pointing in the direction you were always going. Protect it. It is worth more than everything they are about to show you. Now let us go somewhere. Most people do not think to look. Because the offer is not going to announce itself as an offer. It is going to arrive in costume, and you need to recognize the costumes before they show up, so that the wardrobe does not fool you. The first costume is urgency. Urgency is one of the oldest manipulation tools in existence, and it still works because it is so effective at bypassing the thinking mind. A closing window will be created. And now or never energy will surround the opportunity, making deliberate consideration feel like a costly mistake. You will hear things like "this does not come around often," or "decisions need to happen quickly here," or "the window on this is short." The urgency is artificial. It was manufactured in the same planning session that produced the offer itself. The only real closing window is the one that shuts when you say no. That is the only deadline that actually exists. The second costume is exclusivity. You will be made to feel chosen, like this offer was not presented to anyone else, like you are the singular person being pursued. And because you have been doing real work in relative isolation, because the long road has sometimes felt thankless, that feeling of being specifically selected is going to land in a tender place. Resist it. Not because you are not special, but because the specialness being sold to you is the hook, not the truth. Real opportunities do not need to manufacture your sense of being chosen. Real opportunities find you because of what you actually are, not because of a pitch carefully constructed to make you feel that way. The third costume is community. Belonging will be offered. A table, a circle of people who are, you will be told, exactly like you. People who get it, people who share your work, people who would become your collaborators and your support system if you just said yes. This costume is particularly dangerous because the longing for genuine community is real. The exhaustion of building in isolation is real. So when a hand is extended and the words say "come be part of something," "come stop carrying this alone," the pull is legitimate. But examine what the community costs. Look at what you would have to give up, what you would have to stop saying, stop uncovering, stop being, just to earn your seat at that table. Any community that requires you to shrink your truth as the price of admission is not community. It is a cage with better lighting. The fourth costume is the one that works on the most discerning people, the ones who saw through urgency, who were not moved by exclusivity, who recognized the hollow offer of belonging. The fourth costume is intellectual respect. The approach will come in acknowledging your intelligence, affirming what you know, saying that because you are so perceptive and uniquely positioned, here is the proposal, as though your intelligence makes the offer more legitimate, as though being recognized as sharp means you should naturally see the wisdom of saying yes. This version is designed for the part of you that has been dismissed or underestimated and is hungry, on some level, to be seen as the formidable person you actually are. Here is the truth. You can be fully recognized and still say no. Full recognition is not a down payment on your compliance. Watch for the costume. The setup is wearing one, and now you know exactly what to look for. The offer is going to arrive at a moment that was specifically timed for your vulnerability, not by luck, by observation. It will come when you are tired, when something you were counting on has just fallen through, when the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels wider than usual, when the road ahead looks longer than the road behind. In that moment, the offer is going to feel like breath, like the exact shape of the oxygen you needed. Something inside you is going to light up. That is not weakness. That is your humanity. Let it light up. Let it feel good for the seconds it takes to feel good. You are allowed to be a full human being in this moment. And then, before you respond, before you say anything, before you make a single visible move, go quiet inside. Not the anxious quiet of panic, the still quiet of someone who knows. The silence that comes from power, not from fear. The kind of quiet that understands it does not need to fill the space with words, because your words in this moment are exactly what is being listened for. In that quiet, you are going to feel it. The thing underneath the offer, the quality of the energy behind the warmth, the slight wrongness that has no name but has a texture, the thing your body registers before your mind has caught up. You have felt this before. You know this feeling. It is the same one that has been sitting in your chest for a while now. Not anxiety, not paranoia, but intelligence. It is recognition. It is the part of you that has been running quiet reconnaissance, finally saying, yes, this is what I was sensing. This is what I knew was coming. This is it. And then you are going to smile, politely, warmly, with complete control. You are going to say something non-committal. You are going to take nothing, and you are going to walk away with everything you arrived with, plus the knowledge that you saw it for what it was, and it did not move you. That moment, that quiet, private, undramatic moment of not being bought, is the most powerful thing that is going to happen to you in this entire season. The narrative being pushed on you, the one designed to keep you afraid, says that refusing the offer means isolation. It says the walls will close in. It says the pressure that has been building will finally land, and you will have nothing to cushion the impact. That narrative exists because it is the only leverage that remains. The entire power of the threat side of the vice depends on you believing the consequence is real, that refusing the gift means facing exactly what was described to you. Every genuine consequence creates records. It creates witnesses. It creates a trail that becomes evidence pointing in your favor. The people behind this are not interested in creating evidence that points back at them. They are interested in silence, and when silence cannot be purchased, the approach shifts. A softer moment gets waited for. That softer moment will not come, because you are not getting softer, you are getting sharper. Here is what your no actually does. It removes you from the play entirely. It takes you off the board the game was built on. And when you are off that board, you are standing on your own ground, your terms, your rules, your path, uninterrupted, moving directly toward the door that so much effort was spent trying to keep you from reaching. What is waiting just past your no is the real thing, the genuine opportunity that has nothing attached to it except the results of your actual work. The real partnership assembled, not in a room full of people working to neutralize you, but by the slow and natural gravity of genuine excellence, attracting genuine alignment, the real expansion, the real recognition, the real next chapter that belongs to you. None of that can find you while you are inside someone else's structure. It needs you standing on your own ground, available, clear, with your hands free to receive what was actually built for you. Your no is not the end of an opportunity. It is the arrival gate for the real one. There is something that rarely gets said in conversations like this one, and it needs to be said here. It is about the role of your peace. When you sense a setup moving toward you, when you can feel the machinery, when you know the offer is coming, the instinct is to do something, to get loud, to go on record, to build a defensive wall out of public statements and preemptive moves. The instinct is to match the energy, to enter the arena, to come in swinging, because how dare anyone try this? You need to put that instinct down. Not because your anger is unjustified, it is completely justified, but your anger is also a frequency, and the people behind this setup know that frequency. They know how to use it. If you can be made emotional, if you can be pulled into reacting publicly and defending yourself on a stage that was built specifically for that purpose, your reaction can be shaped and controlled. Your justified response gets framed as instability. Your loudest moment gets clipped out of context and circulated as evidence that you are erratic, unreliable, someone who cannot be trusted with the real thing. Your righteous anger becomes a tool in their hands, and they built the whole scenario, hoping you would pick it up. Your peace has no use for them. Your peace is the thing that genuinely cannot be worked with. When you respond to the offer with calm, when you meet the pressure with stillness, when your presence stays consistent and grounded and completely unshaken, even though you know exactly what is moving around you, that is disorienting for the people running this off. The whole play depends on you responding in a predictable way. Urgency is supposed to produce urgency. Pressure is supposed to produce panic. The offer is supposed to produce visible hunger. When none of that happens, when you just keep moving with an unhurried, deeply rooted energy, the play falls apart. There is nothing to work with. There is no heat to amplify. There is no reaction to exploit. Your peace does not just protect you, it actively dismantles the setup. A setup is a performance. A performance requires an audience that responds on cue. You are not responding on cue. You are watching the performance with full knowledge of the script and simply declining to play your assigned part. That is what it actually looks like to be untouchable, not loud, not armored in defensiveness, just deeply, immovably at ease in who you are, so rooted in your own knowing that nothing brought against you can find purchase, nothing offered has a hook to catch on, nothing threatened can locate the fear it was counting on. Cultivate that peace. Protect it the way you protect your most valuable work, because in this season it is your most valuable work. Your truth is patient. Your real gift does not expire. Your path does not close because someone tried to redirect you and failed. The door you are walking toward does not lock itself because someone with a warm smile showed up on your road. Everything you have built is still built. Everything you know is still known. Every person whose life was shifted by your voice still had that shift. None of that can be brought back or undone. A season can be delayed. A destiny cannot be altered. Here is the long game reality. The person who has been running this has built an entire structure on other people's compliance, on the assumption that everyone eventually has a price, on a model of the world where integrity is a sliding scale and the only question is finding the right angle. That model breaks the first time it encounters someone it cannot account for. That someone is you. Not because you are extraordinary in some distant, untouchable way, but because you decided something at some point in your own history that most people never fully commit to. You decided that who you are is not for sale, not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, repeatedly, In small moments across a long stretch of time, you kept choosing the version of yourself that was still intact over the version that was compromised but comfortable. That accumulated choice is the thing that cannot be cracked. The assumption on the other side is that the right angle simply has not been found yet. The adjustments will keep coming, and you will keep being the person that no adjustment reaches. Eventually, the people in that room will have to look at each other and admit that they got this one completely wrong. The door is close, closer than it has ever been. That proximity is exactly why everything discussed today is happening now. You were not close enough before to be considered urgent. Now you are. Now every day that passes is another day you cannot be stopped. Feel how powerful that is. Not how scary, how powerful. The momentum belongs to you. The door is yours. Every move made against you is a response to your movement. You are the one generating the energy. The opposition is simply reacting to it. That is domination, not the loud, aggressive kind, the deep, quiet, unstoppable kind. The kind that does not need to announce itself because the results speak with a volume that no announcement could match. Walk toward the door. Keep your pace steady. Keep your hands clean. Keep your eyes forward. Let whatever comes to meet you on the path be noted, be seen, be understood, and then be stepped over. You were built for this crossing. Everything that came before was preparation for it. The offer is coming. Maybe it is already here. Maybe it has already been described, the warmth already deployed. If it has, you know exactly what it is now. You can call it by its real name in the privacy of your own mind. And from that private naming comes the most important word of this entire season. No, say it without drama. Say it without a long explanation. Say it without entering a conversation that gives the other side a chance to adjust the play. Just know. Clean, final, said once, from a place of such groundedness that it does not require volume to land with full force. And then you turn back toward the door, and you keep walking, and you do not look back to watch the reaction, because the reaction is not the story. Your arrival is the story. Your moment of walking through is the story. Everything that tried to stop you is simply the prologue to the real chapter. The plan to set you up was never going to work, not because you are lucky, not because you are passively protected, but because you are the person you are, the person who built the gifts in the dark seasons, the person who kept the voice honest when dishonesty would have been easier, the person who stayed on the path when every version of the path offered an easier exit. That person was never going to be purchased. That person was never going to be redirected by a beautifully wrapped offer from someone who spent time studying their pressure points. Because the real pressure point, the deepest, most primary, most fundamental thing, is not money. It is not relief. It is not exhaustion. The real pressure point is identity, who you are, and who you are is not for sale. It was not for sale the first time someone looked for the price. It was not for sale every time the approach was adjusted and retried. It is not for sale today. They came for a chosen one and believed they had constructed the right offer. What they found instead was the confirmation that you cannot be bought, which means every step forward from here is yours. Uncompromised, unbought, fully, completely, irreversibly yours. The door is right there.